went to a rock concert with an old flame, and I think there is a chance we may reconnect.
Let's show him what he's been missing.
No, he's seen me recently, he knows. But his wife hasn't seen me in a while, so...
Okay, then you have seen a clip from Young Adult with Charlize Theron, and she's right here, and she's not looking selfish or narcissistic or like a major bitch, but I could be wrong. Is that how you're feeling this morning?
Oh, always, yes.
Always, that's your
half a cup of coffee and I peak right at my bitchiest.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I've described your character Mavis that way, but the fact is, all of those bad things that she is, despite the fact that she's also a human being, what made them say, when they decided selfish, narcissistic, and bitch, they had to have you? What was that factor?
I'm still kind of grappling with that backhanded compliment. You know, there's something so amazing about doing a red carpet with Jason Reitman, who I think is a fantastic, phenomenal director. And everybody going, you know, it's amazing. Jason said he wouldn't make this movie with anybody but you. And I'm like, if this was any other movie, I'd be like, yeah. And I'm like, is that because there's no other actress that could play a bitch? I'm still trying to find that compliment. But I love, like you said, I love this film because I do think that in all of those characteristics that you just brought up, there's something so refreshing about watching, especially a woman who, you know, I think we still struggle in storytelling to kind of capture who women really are, and this idea that, you know, we're still kind of living stuck in this Madonna horror complex, and that women just don't have a gray zone, and that we're not conflicted, and that we're not narcissistic and selfish and do, you know, maybe not always nice things is a misconception.
Well, I mean, let's talk a little bit about the fact that Diablo Cody has written this script about you, your character, playing a writer, a ghostwriter even, of young adult fiction, who doesn't really get the credit for it.
Yeah.
She gets the check, and that's basically it. And she's somebody who's a big city girl. She's come from Minneapolis, right?
Yeah.
And she's coming back to the hometown of Mercury to do this. And I found it hopeful in the movie that at least when your character comes back and says, what I'm going to do is steal my high school boyfriend, played by Patrick Wilson, who is married and has just had a new baby.
Yeah.
And in young adult fiction, that would be just fine.
Yeah,
that would be okay. But at least other people regard your character as just a little off.
Delusional.
Yeah, delusional.
She's a little delusional, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think one of my favorite moments in the film is the sliver where you see her with her parents. And she says, I think I'm an alcoholic, and her mother just laughs it off. And it's a really funny, I mean, people really laugh in the theater when that line comes on. But it's such great insight to a young girl who grew up in a house where nobody emotionally checked in with her, because everybody just kind of figured she's fine. She's the most popular girl in school, she's prom queen, she's winning best hair, you know, she's got this cute boyfriend. And I don't think anybody ever emotionally kind of nurtured her. And so this delusion that she has, you know, comes from a place of not having any kind of boundaries or any, she's not grounded in any truth. And it's sad and somewhat entertaining.
Nice to see you again.
You too.
Oh. Oh.
There it is. Adorable.
So what did you relate to as you? You know, seriously, what did you see in her that you could identify with?
I think that she is a mirror to the attributes, human attributes, that we might not be so proud of. And I think that's been the beauty of what people are connecting to. I think the spirit of the movie, when you finish watching the film, you've gone through such an uncomfortable, awkward experience that, but it's been entertaining, and the spirit of it actually kicks. It's amazing. People afterwards will come up to me and have this freedom to say, to admit that, you know, they have attributes like her. I think that's
Do they actually come up and say,
yes,
I'm Mavis?
Well, and guys, like, not completely, but they're like, God, you know, I really related to that. Like, a lot of women have related to the binge eating, the emotional eating, and the little white lies, and of course, you know, the old classic, thinking the grass is always greener on the other side. And I mean, for me, I found a real melancholy in her loneliness, and I knew that no matter who watched this movie, if you couldn't tap into anything, that was the one thing that I think everybody can tap into. She's an incredibly lonely human being, and when we meet her, she's in her most isolated, lonely state. And you know, that shot of her falling asleep on the couch with her dog in her dirty apartment, watching the Kardashians, or not watching it, just it's on television, it's just always on. It's so unbelievably heartbreaking because it really is, I feel like it's like an intimate view of a place that we've all been at one point in our life.
One of the great things about Mavis and how you play her is that you don't in any way try to make yourself not beautiful, not somebody who people would look at and say, look, it's the personality that we see the damage in, not the surface.
It's fascinating to me. People are always so baffled by kind of how the physical comes, and they separate it from the character, and it's so bizarre to me always because I feel like the character is always going to be the person who's going to inform me what she's going to look like. I mean, I don't make sure you end up with the person you really have to kind of, they go hand in hand.
It's good to keep those people in your life.
I never ever felt like there was a need to do anything but to just kind of show up and be as raw as possible.
And that new baby of his is just darling.
Have you seen it? Up close?
But does this happen to you in life because you are beautiful, tall, smart, funny? When you are approaching people or they approach you, do they say, I'm a little taken aback?
God, I don't think of myself like that. It's very hard. It's very hard to talk about that stuff because I'm sure everybody is just like, you know, shut up. And I, of course, had like 7,000 people and a small dog help me get ready this morning to look like this.
Small dog to do that, yeah, but
small
it's
dog
still
had
there.
to
We see
polish my shoes.
The ads, we see the cover of Vogue, we see J'adore, we see all
a lot of that is,
that.
you know, this is my point. I think that we've forgotten that really is the transformation. That really is the transformation. You know, when actresses do that, it's such an incredibly talented crew and photographer, and the whole thing is like, it isn't real. That isn't real. And then what you try and go and do in a film, that's real. What you're trying to capture is reality. And I think we've bought into the glamour thing so much that we've forgotten when actresses, you know, do something raw or real, we kind of think of that as the transformation. It really is the other way around.